Hey everyone and welcome! Today we're going to talk about something that's often seen as a chore, logging and auditing. But I promise you, by the end of this, you'll see it as your most powerful tool for building a data platform that's actually robust and reliable. So, let's dive in. Okay, so picture this. It's late at night, and you get that dreaded alert. A critical data pipeline has gone down, and a major report is totally broken. You scramble to check the system, but nothing. No clear error message. You have absolutely no idea where to even begin looking. It's a nightmare, and it's a super common one. But what if you could know the exact reason for that failure in just a matter of minutes? And that really brings us to our first big question. Why should we even bother with detailed logging? I mean, this isn't just about ticking a box for some compliance reason. It's about giving yourself a massive strategic advantage when things, and they always do, inevitably go wrong. I mean, just look at this contrast. We're talking about two totally different worlds here. Without logs, you are completely in the dark. You're spending hours on manual checks, making wild guesses, and you might even risk reprocessing bad data, which just makes the whole problem worse. And your confidence in any fix? It's pretty low. But with a solid logging framework, the story completely changes. You get a targeted error message that points you right to the root cause. You go from hours of guesswork to a confident, precise fix. And we're talking minutes, not hours. Okay, so if we're all on board with why we need to do this, the next obvious questions are what and where. What's the essential information we need to be capturing to build an audit trail that's actually useful? And where do we put all this stuff so we can use it effectively when we need it most? Well, to start, you've got to have a solid baseline. At the absolute minimum, every single time a pipeline runs, it should be logging these key fields. You need a unique load ID for that specific run, the pipeline's name, a timestamp, and of course the status, did it work or not? And that message field is crucial for capturing any output, especially those detailed error messages. Now, that parent load ID, yeah, that one's a really big deal, especially when your processes get complicated. And here's why that parent load ID is so powerful. In most modern data platforms, you have pipelines that call other pipelines. It creates this parent-child relationship. By having the child process log its parent's ID, you create a chain. It's like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs. This lets you trace a failure all the way from the top-level trigger down through all the subtasks to the exact spot where things went wrong. You get the full context instantly. All right, so where do we actually put all this great info? In the Azure world, you've got two fantastic options. If your logs have a really consistent, predictable structure, then Azure SQL Database is perfect. It's the classic relational database, everyone knows SQL, and it's amazing for building monitoring reports. On the other hand, if you've got a ton of different processes and their logs all look a little different, something like Azure Cosmos DB is a game changer. It's a NoSQL database that handles flexible JSON data beautifully. So a log from a data copy can live right next to a log from a totally different transformation, no problem at all. Okay, let's take this a step further. We've moved beyond just logging failures. Now we want to audit the data itself. How can we track not just if a pipeline ran, but exactly what it moved? This is where auditing really starts to shine. And the good news is, if you're using Azure Data Factory, the tools are already built right in. The standard copy data activity, which is pretty much the workhorse of ADF, doesn't just move your data. It also spits out this detailed JSON output that tells you everything it did. All we have to do is grab that output and stick it right into our log.
And this is the gold mine of information you get out of it. You can see exactly how many rows were read from the source and compare that to how many were actually copied. Even better, you can track how many rows were skipped because of some incompatibility. When you log these metrics over time, you can spot trends, you can catch data quality issues at the source, and you get a real-world understanding of the data flowing through your system.
Right, so we know what moved. The next question is how efficiently did it move? Auditing your performance is the next layer of building a truly manageable professional data platform.
And just like before, that ADF copy activity output has our back. We can track the total time the copy took, the actual data throughput, and even how long the job was just sitting in a queue waiting for resources. By logging these metrics, you establish a performance baseline. You get to learn what normal looks like for your system. So the second a job starts dragging its feet, you know about it immediately and can figure out why.
You know, the whole point here is to work smart, not hard. And that means not reloading the same data over and over again. This is where a concept called the high watermark is absolutely key. Think of it like putting a bookmark in a book. After a successful run, you log the highest timestamp or ID you processed.
The next time the pipeline runs, it uses that stored value, that bookmark, to ask the source for only the new or updated records. It's the foundation of any efficient, incremental data load.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. We've talked about logging failures, auditing data volume, and tracking performance. How do we combine all of this to build a system that doesn't just recover from problems, but actually avoids them in the first place? What really makes a data platform resilient?
The path to resilience isn't a single switch you flip. It's a journey. You start with that foundational logging. That's your safety net. Then you build on top of that by automating your volume and performance auditing. That gives you operational intelligence. But step 3, that's where the magic really happens. That's where you get proactive. Before you even try to process a file, you use metadata to check. Does it exist? Does it have the right number of columns? Is the structure what I expect? When you combine all 3 of these, you create a platform that's self-aware. That's true resilience.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about for your own systems. Is your data platform just a collection of processes that happen to be running, or have you built in the logging, auditing, and proactive intelligence to make it genuinely resilient?
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. If this was helpful, please give it a like, and be sure to subscribe for more explainers where we try to make this complex data stuff make sense. See you next time.